with possibility at Babbie's house. Babbie's house. Everybody is family. Oh, welcome to Babbie's house.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Babbie's House on the Radio. I am your host, Babbie Mason, and thank you so very much for joining me today. It is a real privilege to talk with today's guest. She is no stranger to Babbie's House on the Radio, and she is no stranger to Babbie Mason Radio. Katrice Cornett is a member of a family of musicians. They love to sing, they write, they grew up together, singing in their family. They've traveled together. And now the Lord is expanding Katrice Cornett's ministry by allowing her to launch out into a music ministry of praise and worship. She has a brand new project called Ordained. We're going to hear all about the ministry and the life of Katrice Cornett. Welcome to Babbie's House on the Radio.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to talk with you again.
Yes.
You know,
Great
Babbie
to be
Mason
here.
Radio loves the Carey sisters, and we have played, for probably a year now, or maybe more, the song Amazing Love. I know all the words. Amazing Love.
Yes, it's always playing on your radio station. You've done our interview multiple times. It's just amazing and awesome to be a part of the Babbie Mason family.
Yes, we are so honored. So honored. And one day I'm going to meet you all so I can lay eyes on you. We can celebrate what the Lord is doing. But right now I just have to know you in the spirit.
Yes, that's okay too.
That's okay too. It's good like that. I love that. Well, Katrice
Yes.
Cornett, I just want to kind of give our listeners a little bit of a backstory so that they can catch up with what we know here on Babbie Mason Radio. You are
Okay.
a member of the Carey sisters, and you all grew up singing. Just give us a little history of your musical background, your family, and your upbringing.
Okay, we grew up singing all together. My dad is a musician. My mom was like a musician at the Methodist church. My dad was a musician at the Baptist church. And my whole family sings. We had a gospel group. My aunts and uncles had a gospel group when we were younger. I remember sitting on the steps when we were supposed to be in the bed listening to them rehearse, looking through the railings, and wishing I was down there with them. But my dad has been in, I don't know, any time that music wasn't a part of our lives, family reunions, holidays, that's just what we did. We got together and sang. We learned how to sing all types of music. It wasn't just restricted to gospel music. We were taught classical. We were taught every type of music you could possibly think of. He broadened our horizons. He didn't keep us closed-minded to one type of music, which was awesome. My dad was a music teacher. And so me and my sister both teach music and voice, and it's just been in my family my whole life. I don't know a second of my life that music wasn't a part of it. It's always been a part of my life.
So what was it like, growing up with all of these musical influences? I can just imagine, well, I don't have to imagine because I kind of have that same kind of a background.
Okay.
Life that was centered around the church, but yet you were so impacted by so much music of your era, music of your generation, music of your culture. What was that like with all of those musical influences?
It was really fun. We used to do musicals, plays. It was really interesting, especially when you get to actually be it or be in it. I never forget my first experience as an artist per se was I was 4 years old. My dad stuck me on the stage and my family was doing a concert, and I had to sing "Oh Happy Day" by Edwin Hawkins, and I cried through the whole thing. They taped it on reel to reel, and they would play it back, and we would laugh at it now, but it was an awesome experience. We learned a lot. We met a lot of people. We were always traveling our family was in different denominations in the church, but we would always be excited about getting together to just actually, I guess the word is collaborate. My dad was a writer as well, and he would write songs, and we would just get together and figure it out and like put the pieces together. It was just a learning experience. It kind of like kept you in creative. It helped your mind to be creative, so that you were just tapped into the talents and gifts that God has given you. And gives you a different perspective on where you're supposed to go and the things you were supposed to do. I couldn't even imagine doing anything that didn't involve the arts, any like acting, singing, just dancing, music. I just couldn't even imagine not having that in my life.
You mentioned earlier the music of Edwin Hawkins and the song "Oh Happy Day."
Yes.
Anybody who grew up in the 70s and who is a musician realizes you can almost remember the day you first heard that song on the radio.
Yes.
Because that song influenced us. It influenced the culture. That song, you talk about crossing over. That song, I mean, it not only was considered a God, I think it was more popular on secular radio than it was on gospel radio. It was heard all over, not just the country, but the world.
Yes.
Were there other influences, other musicians, other groups, or songwriters that had an impact on your life that helped to set the course to where you are today? Who are some of those earlier influences in your life?
James Cleveland. I used to sing a solo by him. Someday is the name of the song, and Daddy taught me that as well. And that was when I was like in high school. James Cleveland was huge in our life. Andre Crouch, Walter Hawkins, the whole family. They were just huge in our life. Those were the songs that we used to sing. Keith Pringle. I could go down the list. I could just remember like just singing all of those songs. And then we would have like I remember doing the play Pearly and the songs that we sang. We learned to, in the musicals, in the theatrical presentations that we would have to do. I actually played Lulibelle in the stage play Pearly, and we did that when we were in high school as well. So it was just a vast array of artists and types of music that we were. I remember doing the Messiah, Handel's Messiah. We would do that every season, different parts for Easter, different parts for Christmas, just all kinds of musical influences to make me who I am, make me and my sisters the artists that we are today. And I believe it takes all of that so that you can figure out what your style is, what your place is, so that you can be unique in the industry and offer what God has given you the way he's given it to you, and not be a carbon copy of someone else. But it takes different influences. That's why we have them for you to find your voice.
That's a beautiful word of encouragement. Very well said. With all of these impacts and all of these influences in your life, singing in choirs and groups and your family and on stage and in musicals and oratorios and all of those wonderful influences, I can just imagine that there are some lessons, even some life lessons that you have learned. How to work as a team, how to be disciplined for performance.
Yes.
Talk to me about some of those life lessons that have carried you through even up to this very moment.
Yes, we first of all, we weren't allowed to be late for anything. Like, you had to be there on time. If you were late, you couldn't participate. So it teaches you discipline and respect for the craft. We had to practice. We had certain times or hours, that we would have to practice all the time. And sometimes it was when you were tired, but you just keep doing it because you know it's going to make you better. We met many friends. I have lasting relationships now that happened when I was, doing those things, and people who are still doing it. And then you see the people who fell by the wayside because they didn't do the things that we were told to do or we were taught to do. And, it wasn't a passion for them. But if it's your passion, and it creates the discipline and the regimen and the actually seeing the outcome of your hard work, kind of like encourages your passion to become stronger because you know it's doable. And even though like sometimes it may seem like they're harder on you, or people are, your mentors or your teachers, and my dad was mostly our teacher, so he was harder on us than he was on anybody else because we're his kids. And so it was like, you're like, oh man, I got to do this again. But at the end of the day, at the end of the production, and when it all comes together and everybody's putting their best foot forward, it's always worth it. I've never done an event or a production or even a worship service where we had rehearsals and it was hard and whatever, where we didn't feel like it was worth it, well worth the effort at the end. And then you think about the lives that you're touching and the people who are going to be encouraged because you were diligent in sharing your gift and staying the course of the rehearsals and, all of those kind of things. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to do what we do. And so when you take
Cornett,
it seriously,
I'm sitting here nodding my head. Katrice Cornett, I'm sitting here nodding my head because I think you and I were raised up in the same school, my friend.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's so awesome when you just see the final thing, that you're touching somebody. And one thing I love about recording and doing the CDs, and I got addicted after the first project, was that I can touch people who I will never ever meet. Like, it's different when you're in a church setting and you go to church every week. It's the same people. Sometimes you might get some visitors, or you're doing a play. So, these people are going to come to you. But how about the person who's in Japan or the person who lives across the country? I can actually mail them a CD, and nowadays you have iTunes and all of that kind of stuff. Like, they can just hit a button and download my song so it can bless the whole wide world. And now we have Babbie Mason. And I may never see the people who are going to hear this on your radio station, but I can touch so many more people now that I've gotten into the recording. That is what drives me to consistently continue to do it. I'm telling you, we're constantly creating music, constantly thinking of songs. God is constantly downloading stuff into us, and I am so open to that because now it's just so many different avenues to reach so many different people you may never even know. And I don't have to know them. God knows them. So he knows who needs to hear the message that he has given me.
I'm talking with Katrice Cornett today. Katrice, you have a brand new project called Ordained. Well, it came out in 2015, but it's new to so many of us. It's a beautiful worship project, and today we're going to spotlight a song that you were able to write with William Davis Jr., a song called Higher Than Before. And we're spotlighting this song here on Babbie Mason Radio, and I want our listeners to hear it in just a moment. But right now, Katrice, will you tell us how the song was inspired and what the song means to you, the message behind the song? Talk for a minute or so about that, and then we'll hear this beautiful song called Higher Than Before. Talk to us about it.
Higher Than Before was actually inspired by William. He's my producer, and he calls me when he gets an idea, and we work well together. Usually he'll have the music and I'll have the words, or I have words and he'll have music. And he called me, he said, I got a song. And he came, and I came over, we sat down, and I listened to it. And it talks about praising the God of Jacob. The title of the song is exactly what the song is about, is how high can you praise God. I'm higher than before, higher than yesterday, higher than a year ago. I'm going to just continue to elevate my praise unto God because he is the God all powerful. It's just energetic. It's a nice melody to it, and it inspires me every time I listen to it. One thing I like about this project is, sometimes you write a song and you listen to it, and you record it, and then you don't listen to it anymore. You're on to the next thing. But every time I hear this song, it ministers even to me, and I just know that it's going to bless some people. We were even blessed to do a video of it, a music video of it on YouTube, and we just had fun doing it. We had fun producing it, and I know that if you just take time, think about your praise. Where is your praise? And you can always be more because God is a God. He deserves it. He's worthy of it.
Praise the God of Jacob. He's always looking out for me. Praise the God of Israel. He's giving promises to me.
Well, welcome back to Babbie's House on the Radio. I've been talking today with Katrice Cornett, and we have been highlighting her beautiful praise song called Higher Than Before, and it's featured on her project called Ordained. And thank you for that beautiful song, Katrice. It's a powerful
Thank
worship
you.
song, and are enjoying it here on Babbie Mason Radio. And